I'm going to review the selection of cards that I pulled from 7 packs of Saviors of Kamigawa. I'm using these packs to build a tribal cube that reviews the Champions of Kamigawa block and then also adds a bunch of Innistrad block cards. This is going to be an underpowered cube because it's got all these Kamigawa cards that are famous for being underpowered. Actually, when I look at these cards, they make me want to play them, bumping off one converted mana cost. I mean, I would play Kitsune Lore Weaver as a 1 for 2/1 instead of a 2 for 2/1. And the same goes for Araba Muth Rider. I would play it for a 1 for 1/1, but instead it's a 2 for 1/1. So I think if I took the entire set of Saviors of Kamigawa and chopped off one CMC, one converted mana cost, it'd be a pretty good set as far as playability against other blocks that have lots of strong cards with really good abilities. As it is, looking through these cards, they're playable within block, within Kamigawa, but don't stand a chance against a lot of cards that are played in other blocks. So here we have Kitsune Lore Weaver, and we have Araba Muth Rider. So Bushido 1 is when this blocks or becomes blocked, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So it's almost like Exalted the other way. Instead of for attacking, which Exalted does when the creature attacks alone, in this case it's kind of the other way. It gets a +1/+1 when it becomes blocked. Kitsune Bone Setter is a 3 for 0/1. Boy, try to play this one. You can tap it and prevent the next 3 damage that would be dealt to target creature this turn. And again, it's got yet another condition that you can only play it if you have more cards in hand than each opponent. Kitsune Bone Setter is basically telling me, I dare you to make me playable. Shinin of Stars Light has first strike. It's a 3 for 2/1. Should be a 2 for 2/1. And it's got Channel. If you play 1 and a white, you can discard it, and then target creature gains first strike until end of turn. So think about this. It would have cost you a total of 5 mana to get that ability out of this thing. Yeah, these cards are really daring me to be playable. But I'll try. Kitsune Dawnblade has Bushido 1, so it gets +1/+1. But again, it's a 5 for a 2/3. Even if it was a 4 for a 2/3, it'd be somewhat playable. But man, at 5 for 2/3, that's hard. Then yet another Moonwing Moth. It's a 3 for 2/1, and it's got an ability. I would really want to bump off one CMC out of all these cards. Tori Watchguard is a 5 for 3/3. Soul Shift 4 is what it has. So when this is put into a graveyard from play, you may return target spirit card with converted mana cost 4 or less from your graveyard to your hand. That can be a useful ability within block with a bunch of spirits, or in tribal with a bunch of spirits. Still, it's a 5 for 3/3, so I don't think that fools anybody. Then we've got 1 of Spiritual Visit as an instant arcane, and then 3 of Curtain of Light as an instant. Spiritual Visit, put a 1/1 colorless spirit token into play, and you can splice into arcane for 1. So as you play an arcane spell, you may reveal this card from your hand and pay its splice cost. If you do, add this card's effect to that spell. Seems a little complicated. I think if I was in a sealed environment, in a limited environment, and had to read through all these abilities, I'd probably spend more time reading the abilities than playing the cards. Current of Light, target attacking unblocked creature becomes blocked. And then you draw a card for 2. Seems alright. Either Shockwave, and I've got 3 of Cowed by Wisdom. So either Shockwave is an instant. Choose one. Tap all spirits or tap all non-spirits. That seems like a useful ability, but again, it's a 4 mana, so I would play it at 3, not at 4. Cowed by Wisdom, enchanted creature can't attack or block unless its controller pays 1 for each card in your hand. This is a rare instance of a card in this set that actually has a reasonable converted mana cost at 1. Promise of Bunrai is an enchantment at 3. Whenever a creature you control is put into a graveyard from play, sacrifice this card. If you do, put 4 1/1 colorless spirit creature tokens into play. And that actually seems reasonable for a cost of 3. So I'm going to take off the white cards and move into the blue cards. So here's 2 Dreamcatcher and 1 Ghostlit Warder. These are the creatures. So for 1, it's a 1 for 1/1, this Dreamcatcher. That's pretty good. And whenever you play a Spirit or Arcane spell, you may sacrifice it if you do draw a card. That is reasonable, it seems. Then Ghostlit Warder is a 2 for 1/1. It is an uncommon, which is a little shocking for it to be a 2/1/1. I would have had it as a 1/1/1. And then it's got a very heavy flavor ability with 3 plus blue. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 2. And then it's got Channel. So if you discard it, you can counter a target spell unless its controller pays 4. So you hit for 4, and you have to force your opponent to use 4 in the channel. That sounds reasonable, but the 3 plus blue seems a little harsh for just a 2 penalty for your controller to counter your spell. Minamo Scrawlkeeper is a 2 for 2/3. It's got Defender. Yet again, cards in this set are really daring people for them to play them. If it had been a 2 for 2/3 without Defender, that would have been nice. Your maximum hand size is increased by 1. That can be useful. Moonbow Illusionist. It's a 3 for 2/1. Once again, it'd be nice if it was a 2 for 2/1. And for 2 more, you can return a land you control to its owner's hand. And then the target land's type becomes the basic land type of your choice until end of turn. That can be good. Got 2 Descendants of Soramaro. And I've got an Oboro Envoy. We're going through the blue creatures, getting heavier by the minute. Oboro Envoy is a 4, 1/3 with flying, and for an additional 2, you can return a land you control to its owner's hand, and the target creature gets -X/-0, where X is the number of cards in your hand. Well, the number of cards in your hand is never going to exceed 7, unless you play some ability like the one we just mentioned that gets it to be 8. But most likely it's going to be 2 or 3. It's all right, but you got to hit this thing for 4, and it's almost a wall at 1/3. I don't understand why it's an uncommon. Of course, if it was a 3 for 1/3, I could see it being an uncommon. Descendant of Soramaro is a 4, 2/3 with an additional 1 blue ability. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of cards in your hand. Then put them back in any order. Rushing Tide Zubera is a 4-drop 3/3, almost like an artifact, even though it's uncommon. And when it's put into a graveyard from play, if 4 or more damage was dealt to it this turn, draw 3 cards. Well, if you were playing something that didn't have saviors on the other side, you probably got more than 4 damage. Wow. Sorry, saviors. Shinnin of Flight's Wings. It's got flying. It's a 5 3/3 with channel. Again, even a 4 3/3 would be a nice artifact instead of a color creature. Then we've got 3 ideas Unbound, and Everwind. I'm not quite sure how to play Everwind because it doesn't have a mana cost. I'll have to read about it. It allows you to draw a card. Luckily, they wrote it on it. Oh, here it goes. Spells without mana costs can't be played. We should say anything that comes from saviors can't be played, but it just refers to this particular card. Ideas Unbound. Draw 3 cards, discard 3 cards at the end of turn. It'd be nice if it was draw 3 cards, discard 2 cards, and it's a 2-drop. Cut the Earthly Bond. It's a 1-drop instant. Return target enchanted permanent to its owner's hand. It would have been nice if it just said return target permanent to its owner's hands. What are the odds that it's going to be enchanted? That's lower. And so this thing could really sit on your hand. If the permanent is not enchanted, you can't do anything about it. It should say, it comes from Saviors, discarded. Murmurs from Beyond. Reveal the top 3 cards of your library. An opponent chooses 1. Put that card into your graveyard and the rest into your hand. I'd probably not play it in a limited environment just so I wouldn't have to read it. 2, Freed from the Real, very pretty card. Creature enchantment for 3. Then for an additional 1, you can tap enchanted creature. And for the same, you can untap an enchanted creature. That's limiting again. You have to hit an enchantment creature with this thing. An enchanted creature. So, okay, you have to put it on a specific one. For 3. That's heavy. Overwhelming Intellect, overwhelmingly unplayable at 6. Counter target creature spell. Draw cards equal to that spell's converted mana cost. And it's uncommon. Mei Xin, the Mind Cage. Mei Xin, the Unplayable Cage at 7. It's a legendary artifact. All creatures get -X, -0, where X is the number of cards in your hand. Once again, you're dropping for 7. Boy, you'd be so lucky if you had 7 cards in your hand. You would have to be drawing like crazy and also not taking any damage. So, interesting card. The artwork, of course, for Saviors is very nice. I couldn't possibly imagine how I would play this card.